Hey chillers, welcome back to my channel. It's Tuesday, which means it's spooky day. Spooky. Spooky. Estelle, how's it going? Yes, I'm sucking on a peppermint. So I'm going to be reading part 5 of There's Something Wrong with My Fiance. Yes, this is part 5. I've been going on about the series forever. Part 8.5. I don't know. There's like 3 parts left. And again, this is from Reddit user The Life of Nikki. So much for a calm night. I guess I'll pick up right where I left off yesterday. Work was a nightmare. If you've ever worked in a bar or restaurant, you know how it is when things go from absolutely dead to swamped in a matter of minutes. Tensions run high and everyone is sprinting around trying to do 10 things at once. So when my manager Anna strolled up to the bar around 9 p.m., neither she nor Detective Jones are at her side were welcome sights. Anna told me that she would be clocking me out manually, that she would be finishing up all of the tabs I had open for right now, and that she would wrap my tips up. She would wrap my tips up for me to pick up tomorrow. But that right now, I had to leave. I asked why, fearing I'd just been fired, or worse, that I was under arrest. But Detective Jones told me he would explain everything in the car. But that there was something else I needed to see. The next 2 hours are a blur to me. Detective Jones explained in private that some teenagers had been messing around in the woods earlier in the evening and that they had stumbled upon a dead body. The body was burned almost beyond recognition. Facial features were not discernible, but the body was intact. I asked what this had to do with me, and he got really quiet. After a moment, he said that upon police investigation, they had found several personal items in the pockets of the victim's clothing. Among them was a credit card in Mark's name and a wallet-sized copy of our engagement photo. Detective Jones told me that they think the body might belong to Mark. I immediately started crying. He asked me when the last time I'd heard from Mark was, and I told him the truth, that I'd not been able to reach him since he left for Chicago Monday morning. As we pulled up to the station, he told me that, unfortunately, he needed me to attempt to ID the body. The morgue was not nearly as morbid as I imagined. It felt rather like a doctor's office, except cooler drawers lining the wall. When they pulled the sheet back, I near vomited. The sight was horrible. I can't bear to describe it. All I will say is that I truly hope none of you ever have to see something like that. It will haunt me forever. However, Detective Jones was right. The body was fairly intact. Honestly, there were minimal burns below the chest, which is really disturbing to think about, but it helped. I told them with absolute certainty that no, this man was not in fact my fiancé. They asked how I could be sure with all the facial damage. But that was easy. I told them that Mark had a full sleeve tattoo on his left arm which spread up onto his chest, which would have still been visible below the burn. The forearms were not even touched, but the burn, however, they also had no tattoos. This was not Mark. After that, Detective Jones took me back to his office and asked me a lot of questions about Mark, his birthday, his hometown, his family life, any siblings, work, etc. I gave him as much information as possible. When we were done, Detective Jones took me back to my car. He told me that he would tail me home and that he was going to station an officer, God, I can't talk, outside my apartment to watch for any weird activity. He seemed rather conservative over the fact that this John Doe had mine and Mark's photo on him. Honestly, the implications of that photo and the credit card had not really sunk in until that point. I didn't get much sleep. I called off of work today. I'm just way too overwhelmed to try and be pleasant to strangers right now. But of course, nothing can be normal. No day can be relaxing. I don't know what to think anymore. I woke up early to call my boss at the kennel. I explained the situation. She told me to please just rest and to call her tomorrow morning if I needed another day. I texted Anna, my manager from the bar, and told her I would not be coming in to pick up my tips today. She asked if everything was okay, and I told her that I honestly did not know. She, being a friend of mine since before I started working at the bar, said she would bring my tips and some lunch over for me when she finished up with the paperwork in the office. With her paperwork in the office, should I say. She said we could talk about it if I wanted. I thanked her and went back to bed. I woke up around noon, showered, and was in the kitchen making some tea when I heard a knock on the door. I assumed it was Anna, but when I answered, I found the last person I'd ever expected to see. The creepy man from the bar. What? The man who had been outside yesterday morning. How he managed to get past the officer outside is beyond me, but he smiled and said, "Good afternoon, Nikki. I believe we have some things to talk about. May I come in?" I immediately said no, to which he smiled and replied, "Very well, smart woman. Perhaps a seat out here on your patio will be better." That sounded reasonable enough. I joined him outside. I don't know why I did. I know I should have slammed the door in his face and called the cops, but I didn't. We sat at the small table. Hold on. We sat at the small table Mark and I have on the patio, outside our door. He lit a cigar. This man was not nearly as disturbing as in the daylight. He seemed rather normal, while not being normal at all. I would place him in his early 30s, tall, reasonably well built, well groomed despite slightly shaggy black hair with the brightest blue eyes I've ever seen. He wore a nice suit, but looked as comfortable in it as most men would be in sweatpants. He had an air of confidence and wisdom, by all accounts an attractive, well-mannered, well-educated man, yet he still made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Once I was seated, he waited for me to say something. When I didn't, he dove right in. "Your fiance is not dead, Nikki," he said. "I never thought he was," I responded. What an odd thing for him to say. "But you have to admit that you wondered, when Detective Jones showed you the body. Part of you was afraid you were wrong." "How did he know that?" Before I could ask, he continued, "Mark is alive and well, and in Chicago. Worry not. I should know. Sent him there myself." "Are you his boss?" I asked, confused. The man laughed. "No, not exactly. Although I have worked with him in the past. You see, I met Mark a few weeks ago, Friday the 9th, if I remember right. You had been fighting. I remember the night Mark left for a shift and didn't come back until Monday morning. He was worried. He said you two were strapped for cash. With the big nuptials, whatever that means, just around the corner. I offered to help." "So he was working with you all that weekend? Is that why he didn't come home?" I simply helped him earn a few extra bucks. He did what he had to do. "I know nothing else of where he went or what he did," the man replied, dropping a sly smirk for the first time since his arrival. That is none of my concern. I'm simply here to give you a friendly piece of advice." "And what is that?" I asked. The grin came back. "Decide what you want and stop asking questions. Remember what curiosity did to that poor cat, after all." He set a business card on the table and rose. "Call me if you need anything. I'm sure we could reach a mutually beneficial agreement." The card was thick and heavy, matte black with glossy script, delicately placed on its surface. Samael Sulabade, 666-3397. When I looked back up, he was gone. I know I should have just thrown the card away, or better yet, given it to Detective Jones. But I didn't. I slipped it in my wallet. Maybe this mysterious Samael? Samael? Sammaiel. I don't know how to pronounce that. I have some answers after all. Does that Samael? I'm just gonna call him Sam. I started cleaning the apartment after that. Maybe Mark left behind some clue in his haste to pack everything up. Maybe I can find some record of knowing an Ian Smith. Sorry, this peppermint's just getting on my nerves. Anything to start making things make sense. Some other weird artifact like the dagger. A love letter from another woman. Something. But it came up empty. Sorry, I was just seeing how much is left. I gave up after a while and just took a nap. Laid in bed and watched TV. all around just sulked and felt sorry for myself. Anna eventually did come and wound up staying most of the evening. Kelly joined us for a late lunch. I did not fill Anna in on everything. No need to drag her into this madness. I just told her that I hadn't heard from Mark since he left on Monday, and that the police wanted to talk to me about an ongoing problem I had some knowledge about. When she left, I filled my sister in on the body. I did not mention the visit from Sam. Eventually, Kelly also left, and I cooked a late dinner. Then I returned to searching the apartment for any possible clue as to what the heck is going on. I think I made a bigger mess than was here this morning, but I don't care anymore. I want answers. I want to know what is going on, how it involves me and Mark. I want to know. Then the phone rang. My heart nearly stopped when I saw the number. Hello? Can I please speak with Nikki? Last name. This is impossible. Ma'am, my name is Detective Smith. I'm calling in regards to your fiance, Mark. Last name. Oh my god, people stop blowing up my phone. No, Detective Smith's phone was found in the river on Sunday. Who is this? Ma'am, when was the last time you saw Mark? This isn't real. Are you sure? By the time I hung up, I was in tears. I still can't believe this is all happening. There's no way in Shoobadoop that phone number should be able to call me. There's no way Detective Smith, whoever he is looking for me that hard. And even if he was, there's no way he could call me 3 separate times and have the exact same responses no matter what I say. Except this time. This time the, "Are you sure?" sounded an awful lot like a challenge. Detective Jones is on his way here. I don't really want to be here at all right now. But I most definitely don't want to be anywhere alone. I hope he arrives with answers, or at least advice on what I should do. What I can do. I think I hear him pulling up outside now. Until next time, all. Nikki. Well, that concludes part 5 of There's Something Wrong with My Fiance, the viral Reddit horror story. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up so I know. My bubble will pop up soon. Please follow on my social media down below, and my last video will be, or one of my most recent videos will be right there. Alright, I will see you guys on Challenge Day Thursday. Peace out, chillers.